This is the Rocket.Chat Engineering Podcast. Welcome everyone, I'm Rodrigo Nascimento, Rocket.Chat CTO and co-founder, and your host on this podcast. On these weekly episodes, we'll talk about the news on the engineering areas from the past week. I have with me today Douglas Gubert, Apps Engine Leader.
Hey everyone.
Diego Sampaio, Backend Leader and co-founder.
Hi there.
Aaron Ogle, Cloud Leader.
Hello.
Guilherme Gazzo, a front-end leader as well.
Yeah.
Diego Mello, mobile leader.
Hey guys.
And Renato Becker, omnichannel product manager.
Hi guys.
So let's get started on this episode. Doug, you were the first. What are the news on the Apps Engine this past week?
Let's do it. So first things first, we have our CLI updated to use the new apps compiler, and we're testing our new submission process. Aaron might have something to say about this later. So we seem to be good for publishing these changes along with the next release of Rocket.Chat, which should come out this week, by the end of the week. I don't know. Also, user typing indicator API is a new API that has been merged. So from the next release on, you'll be able to send typing indication from your app to notify users that your bot is doing something different that is going to take a bit. Hooray!
That's nice.
We're also working on the scheduler API. We expect to have it ready by the end of this week as well to go with the Rocket.Chat new release. And we're also trying to get the RC Code Tour project up and running. It should be like a code tour of the code base so that you can learn how to navigate in all those structures and folders that we have on our projects, so we can quick start new contributors and new employees alike. And that's it.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm excited to see how this code tour works. Curious to see how easy it will be to onboard on our huge code. Yeah, great. So I guess it's important to say that this monthly release probably will be delayed in 3 days to 2030. The release candidate and 30th of this month for the final release. So you can get more and more features in this release. Moving on to Sampaio, what are the news on the backend, Diego?
All right. Yeah. Our main focus is still on the microservices work. So we are getting close to finish what we named the first phase of that work. We are now testing it out on a live environment. So we will hopefully be able to land that on the current release. And yeah, I guess that's the only highlight I have for this week. Only all microservices.
Yeah, that's good. So focusing on having the scalability. One interesting thing, I guess, for everyone that we found is that we had to increase the number of connections to the database for the microservices due to the usage of change streams. And yeah, that's interesting to see how that will behaves on our cloud. We have many instances running against the database. It will not be a problem at all for single clients that are running their own instances, but for us, that will be interesting to see how to deal with many more connections. Yeah, let's see. Aaron, you're the next. So what are happening on cloud this week?
Okay, so like we mentioned last week, so the partner implementation did get merged and is live. So for the partners, they have some API endpoints to help facilitate the things they need to do. The marketplace compiler work that Douglas mentioned. So we actually, the CLI kind of held us up a little bit. We just need to make sure like I think some of the CLI stuff was in place, as well as like I think the module release. We're going to try again to go live today with those changes, so that we'll be kind of ready for the release when it happens. The push cap limits, the numbers are actually shown in the Cloud Console now. So you can actually compare like what your usage is compared to the limit. Right now they're not enforced. And like last week we mentioned that we had a couple items remaining to define. We actually have those defined, and the date now for the push cap going into place has been set to November 16th. And so enforcement will begin then. Going into this week, I think the push cap work will be our priority. The registration flow RFC that we mentioned last week, we ran into a couple of like gaps in the design. Mainly just like little things missing. Reverse compatibility was something that wasn't really kind of thought of in that design process. At least they weren't in the mock-up, so we kind of cleared things up, and we're now ready to kind of proceed with that again. I think a big thing for Cloud this last week, just kind of wanted to call that out here. So we had an incident happen on October 16th, and you can kind of see the timeline on status.rocket.chat. Just kind of a quick summary of that. We run Ubuntu on our workers on the cloud, and our infrastructure provider, like typically when you install Ubuntu, you have the option to during the install process to choose the auto upgrades. It's like off, on for critical, or on for all. And in this case, our infrastructure provider had it on for all, and it slipped past us. So on the 16th, apparently Docker got updated, and typically Docker daemon restarting is not an issue, because they fixed that back in like 1.12 or some old version of Docker. But just in general, Docker restarting, if it changes any component underneath, then there's kind of a risk of things happening. So typically this is not an option we would have chose to have turned on. We would actually drain nodes and updated without a load running on a node. So needless to say, that's turned off. It's added to our hardening process. And we have some additional things that we're planning on working on related to our distribution to make it more trusted by us. And that's it for us.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you for the update. A lot of things. And it's nice to be able to see you on this podcast. And if you're listening to the audio only, you can find us on the YouTube, and you can see us. You can see Aaron on this podcast and know a little bit more about the engineering team. Regarding the submission and the compiler of the apps engine on the cloud, I guess just to mention that what's going to happen on the future version is that people will submit the TypeScript version, and the cloud then will compile that, and will provide the compiled version to Rocket.Chat and the TypeScript version to old Rocket.Chat versions to continue working. That will be deprecated, of course. So the future, only the compiled versions will be available. That will take some time, don't know how long yet. But the main idea is to be able to deliver more and more features with the compiled versions. But for that, we need to spin up workers and make that compilation and see if that everything's working and returning errors and things like that on the cloud now using the CLI, the same compiler we're going to use in our machine, the CLI, the Apps Engine CLI. will be the same. We are going to use on the cloud to run the compilation.
Best case scenario, it goes unnoticed.
Yeah, we hope.
Ideally.
We can, the ideally scenario, at least submitting through the CLI, we know all the problems beforehand, right? Before submitting to the cloud. Right, Gazzo, front end, what's happening there?
Oh, hello. Actually, our main focus was the sidebar. We had like a week running and with no big issues, and I don't think we have a lot of complaining about. So seems that people are more used it, and we reach like the maturity. So yeah, we like just polish a little bit with the design to be more closer than the draws, the design itself, and behind under the hood, we changed a lot of, created a lot of new components, and I think it is exciting because we create a lot of new present stuff and a lot of helpers that will be very useful in the future, and yeah, and really looking after to release this sidebar, but I think that we need to wait for a break change because I'm confident that we'll like mess a little bit the any customization that people probably have. So yeah, that's was our week. And for the future, we are working. We are preparing like the place to work to rewrite the server info page, and the cloud registration nowadays is a little bit messy, and we are trying to improve this experience. So it will, of course, we still are working rewriting things in React, but usually people don't even like realize that we changed the interface. But the new features we are developing are cloud registration and server info page. I think I will help this code tour, but I didn't start yet to help. But I think I will be the first try, right, Doug? I'm not sure. So yeah, good luck to us, because it's not always easy to find the coder. But yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, this sidebar will be really awesome. If you access Rocket.Chat, probably you'll see this, maybe, because we're now testing the microservices. The sidebar may be back in a few days. You may be like to find that on Rocket.Chat. But I guess it will be released soon, so you can test by yourself. The info page will be really nice. Yeah, they're missing a lot of information, and it will be really nice to see that on probably next release, right? So, and the cloud registration will be much better following the new designs. But let's implement it. So, Mello, what's going on mobile?
Last week we started using App Store Connect API on Fastlane, which is a different way of handling Apple authorization for iOS builds. Previously, we were using the standard way of, email and password. But since Apple started requiring a 2FA on all accounts, that broke our CI because we can't really enter a 6-digit string on CI. So yeah, now it's working properly. And also on Fastlane, we fixed iOS builds for failing forks. It started working like 2 weeks ago when we implemented notification service, I guess. Anyway, we also finished the implementation of Lean Jitsi, so we removed lots of stuff and still waiting review. also end-to-end encryption improvements, the new mentions layout, which doesn't have background, and it's awesome. And all of these PRs are waiting review, by the way. There are also a couple of PRs from the community waiting review, like quick actions, a few push notification fixes, and more stuff. We plan to review and merge most of them for next release, and you guys rock. Thank you. Also, we've been still working on F-Droid update. We had some issues on how to have Google Play and FOSS flavors running correctly without having to maintain a separate branch. It would be much better if these two build flavors on Android on the develop branch, on the master branch. So yeah, we won't have to maintain a separate branch only for F-Droid. We started the implementation of the new threads on mobile, which is not that many new anymore, and the new layout is pretty cool. Later this week, we're going to update our branding on all places also, and that's it. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's something we are trying to do on all the places now, updating for the new logo and the new entire branding colors and things like that. But the layout for the mentions and colors for the mentions, that will be much better on the mobile. It was impossible to make the rounded corners on that mentions when you're highlighting the usernames there on mobile. That would be much better without the backgrounds. Just curious about that. Why was iOS building fail for forks? It was related to secrets that are not able to be used on forks?
No, actually, fork builds doesn't use any provisioning profile, so that are not really this kind of issue. The issue was because the notification, I guess, the notification service is a different app, different target inside the app. So yeah, it started to fail because of reasons. I don't know, but it's working right now.
Great. Thank you. So, Omnichannel, Renato, what's going on? What was happening on the past week and what the news?
Yeah, talking about things in progress. We are focused on new CRM integration with Salesforce. I have mentioned in our last call, and now we have already mapped out all of the objects that will be part of this first version of this integration. I'm talking about the Salesforce contacts, cases, transcripts, and that stuff. So now we are able to move forward and start implementing this new feature. Next is about core stuff. Our main goal is the Omnichannel directory, which is it's a group of UI and UX improvements that you want to add to the product in very short term. We know that Omnichannel agents, they need to have access to some objects that they're not allowed to currently. I'm talking about archived chats or the Omnichannel contacts. So yeah, it's time to get things done and continue to deliver very valuable features to the product. So this is our main goal. And talking about our plans, I've been working very, very close to our design team. We are creating the new UI and UX of Omnichannel queues. This is an important part of the product, and our plan is to help agents to improve their productivity and efficiency. So, this is still a work in progress, but I'm looking forward to having the final version of this new UI and UX components. This is probably one of the most or the biggest improvements that the product has ever had. So I'm very excited, and I'm glad we have very, very good news very soon. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Great, awesome, thank you. So I guess as you mentioned, hirings, it's important to say that we have many positions open there, so you can see them on jobs.rocket.chat. And we are looking for backend engineers and many others. We're still evaluating some candidates for some positions that are open already, so we're probably having new Rocketeers joining the team soon. So I guess thank you all for participating on this. This podcast is available as video on YouTube and as audio only on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many others. So thank you all for listening to this weekly report podcast, and thank you for the Rocket.Chat engineer team to make this possible. See you all in the next episode.